want it to pick up easily in there, and so sometimes a flattened type of end on. Has anybody else got any fids on those benches next to you? That one's a Purple Heart. This one I flattened the tip off. You know, a big house in the way like that, they might do that. So once I know that height, and then I know what my angle of my rake is going to be. Let's say I turned out from that center line to have a rake of 2 degrees or something, and it looks like that. Then it's easy for me to say, if this is, let's say I can exaggerate, let's say the tack could be there, there, or there. Okay? If it's there, and I wanted, on my scale, let's say 6 to 8 inches of clearance, that is the angle of my boom. If that's where my boom is, and that's still the place I want to miss, that's the angle of my boom. No matter what, it won't be drooping. It will be kicked up. This is obviously for doing bigger rope and stuff. So anyway, it's nice to take a look at, pass some of these around for those of you that, yeah, it's nice to do some nice fancy work on the end of your, this one here is made of ebony and, I want to say maple, but it was something harder than that. I can't remember now. There was a student at the school that also was a student up here, and he just went nuts making wooden tools for sailmaking and rigging. And so he made himself several fids, all laid up with this, you know, these two woods, even a seam rubber, which I'll show you a couple examples. And the same thing, it was all four-sided, and he made a gift of this for me, which is pretty cool. This will be hand sewn in there with its thimble, and then it'll have
a couple of 7s and then maybe 3 5s?
Yeah, right now I think I got 5s and 4s, but yeah, the same idea. He might do 7s and 5s because he's got one. He's got those. He might have something like that. And you can actually add to that 4, 3, 2 or something, or you can even have one out there. And these will all be lashed individually together as backup rings. Sort of like today they would just put a piece of webbing in the sail to do the same thing. So it can also be very decorative. I mean, there is a lot of art in sails that has disappeared, which is kind of a shame. So anchor rings and satellite rings and a corner. They wouldn't want to have that extra amount of stretch that would happen by rolling it, you know.
What do you mean?
Rolling it like the bottom of
Oh,
my
yeah,
rod.
okay.
Yeah.
And I guess it wouldn't make sense to put another ball.
No, but they would sometimes put a line in there to keep it from overstretching, you know.
So I love your repair.
Another nice repair there. Designing your bench is something that's kind of personal, and there are some more samples I was going to show you of, you know, again, some of these. This is a hydraulic ring, and Kay's got it. As she shows you repairs, she'll be showing you why we only stick to certain noble metals in a sail, because you're creating a battery right off the bat. The minute it's out in the salt environment, gets sea spray on it and things.
The ring cutter?
Now is the smaller the number, the bigger the needle. Okay.
Wow. And this is a 14.
Perfect. Huh?
This is a 14.
This is a 14. Yep. And comes, you know, we've been buying needles from these guys a long time. I mean, I've been building sails since '76, and who knows how long they were around before that. But, and we get them from different suppliers. You know, that you see on the back, Bainbridge International, they happen to be the one I ordered that from. Okay, and then, unfortunately, I don't have my force. We want you to now, thread comes in different sizes. It's the same for sewing machines. We buy it pre-waxed. It's nice because we can just go, yeah, right? We don't have to. And sometimes you'll feel like you want to kind of wax your thread as you go on anyway, because it seems like they're being skimpy on their wax lately. I tell you, it's incredible. Okay, this is definitely the largest of the threads that we'll be using. It's called 9C, and the way I know that. Now, unfortunately, I can't tell you where it's just some code that somebody used a long time ago, or maybe it has something to do with a certain amount of weight per length of it or something, or diameter, who knows. But right there it says 9C, okay? And depending on who I get this from, it's always 9C, but they might have other code names and numbers or something, but it's basically hand-waxed thread. This is 9C. We rarely use this unless I'm doing really big stuff. You guys probably won't need this. We might use it a couple of times in the Lindy cells for sure, okay? So check out that thickness compared to this one, which happens to be 462, or is this the 340? This is the 346, okay? I don't know what that means compared to 9C. It's not 346 times lighter, but that's 346, that's about the lightest we use. And in between these two, which we use a lot of, is 462. Just remember, 346, 462, and 9C, and you can feel them and you can see that they're definitely different weights or sizes or thicknesses. Now, on some things, when we get into the rope work and finishing the leather work on a small little dinghy sail that's like, 45 square feet, we would probably never use any of these two. We would use the lightest one. Otherwise, it looks like we're putting rope in the leather because everything's so fine and small, right? And a sailmaker will choose his threads for the sewing machine too, okay? And obviously, something big and ropey stands out, and that could be bad on some canvas work or sails because it'll chafe then and go away. So you want stuff to kind of sit smooth but still be strong enough to last. We'll get into choosing our weights and measures for the sail, everything from cloth even to the thread, how many rows of stitching we use in a seam, everything. We'll talk about that. But what you need to remember is the first thing to go in a sail is the stitching. Same thing on your canvas work. If you've taken care of it over years, the first thing to go will be the stitching. So as a canvas worker or a sail maker, especially if it's going offshore for the sails, why would you not use the heaviest weight that you can get away with in the thread to give more life? Kay does nothing but restitching all the time when the sails would come in. First thing to go is the stitching, and it's like they could have used 138, which is another weight for machine threads, instead of something like a 92, and it is a big difference. And so we, depending on the environment it's going to be, and we'll choose stuff like this because we're trying to, if lightness is an issue, then we won't go with heavy. And we even think about it right down to the thread level. So for your bags, you guys are going to be using this. I got more of it coming, so we'll use this up for now. So just remember to look at the bottom, and you want it to say 430, 462. See what it says, 462? That one says 346. And are you a knitter? Yeah, maybe you want to join them on the one. It's really fun. They have a blast. Mostly just sit around and they eat cakes. But we used to get together, usually in a place like this around the fire, or my friend's boat shop down in Point Hudson, and on the same night, and we'd make buckets and bags, and we were starting to make cedar buckets, and just having fun at night. And maybe we can do that down here. I know that Marcus was asked why don't we do a marlin spike night, and it's actually quite fun. You sit around the fire and just work on stuff, and you make stuff, and there's always a wee dram of something for medicinal spirit,
So your ropes have tar on them?
I did. I brought tarred hemp.
His doesn't.
This is just hemp that's not been tarred.
I like yours better. This
is hemp that's not tarred. That's kind of what that was.
So this tar, you just hand applied? You had some special tar?
No, it was made up like that. Whoever from the place, this was made up by the guy that was making up this rope in Norway. He was from Denmark. That's where I got all my tarred line, and I brought remnants back that I just made.
That's cool. I like the tarred rope.